If I were to narrow down this story of Shanelle's Bistro into one word, it'd be love.
Welcome to Shanelle's Bistro.
Mystery. Like, what's it gonna be this year? What theme's it gonna be? And what's the food gonna be? And who all gets to come?
Fun, family, food.
Work. A lot of work and stress from the kitchen. Years of trauma. Because I'm always cooking something, like deep frying something or grilling chicken. It's like 12 chicken breasts at a time. At one time, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much chicken because I'm doing that, and then I have to go like run inside, and I'm wearing a very flammable spacesuit, so I'm trying not to catch myself on fire. So yeah, a lot of work.
That's fun.
Lots of hard work in the kitchen making Chinese food. It was probably my first big experience. I think we got a little in over ourselves on that one, and there was a lot of work involved to make some pretty good Chinese food, honestly.
One word. Service, but that seems so silly because of course that's what you're doing. But it stems from like you wanted to serve mothers. Well, because moms are so special and they're always serving, always, which now becoming a mom, I'm realizing even just taking up the brain space is a service to your children and to your family. And it's a time to return that and to be thinking and planning, and it can all year round or like, oh, what are we gonna do in the next 5 years? I'm really having a hard time shutting that off, being from one side to the next. And there are certain things I'll be like, Thad, maybe for Shanelle's, if you ever do this, I don't know, recipe, this would be a good idea. It's hard, but yeah, service. And then, yeah, being on one side, now going to the other and being served.
Creativity. I look forward every year to Shanelle's Bistro to flex my creativity skills and see how we can push the boundaries, make something new that's never been experienced. It's been 20 years now of different themes, so like it's kind of hard to outdo yourself every year, but I think we've done pretty good. So I think the creative aspect of it, and of course service to our mothers.
It's been a labor of love for 20 years. Started out in love, and every year watching the brainstorming sessions take place, planning. It is a several month long labor of love, culminating in the wonderful event, and then seeing the moms come in, and just their facial expressions are worth everything.
For 20 years, our family has enjoyed the tradition of Shanelle's Bistro. From simple beginnings evolving into extravagant experiences, the staff has worked hard to prepare an experience that mothers can look forward to every year. The goal this year has been to make our 20th anniversary a special time of honoring the past and looking forward to the future of the Bistro. We'll take a deep dive into how we started, how it's changed, and the challenges of growing and maintaining this cherished tradition. We will also look into how the influx of new staff and patrons helped take our fine establishment to new heights we never imagined possible. This is Shanelle's Bistro.
The first Shanelle's Bistro, I think, isn't what it is today. You know, I think it was more of a dinner. We were going to have a special dinner for the moms. I think I probably helped a lot more than I did as I do now. Now I don't help at all, but I think I did in the beginning, just because we were having the special dinner for the moms. That's really all I remember. And we did a little decoration. I think I had a candle for everyone, like a little lavender candle is what comes to mind. That's what my memory is. But now it's much more and a lot different than it was in the beginning.
I guess I could probably start by saying I was reluctant at first to want to do it, but then seeing how much Pat really liked it, and then getting my mom involved and how much they enjoy that. It's fun. It's really, it like time kind of, so the work, like all the build up to it's just kind of like, boom, here it is. And you do it and everybody enjoys it. And then they talk about it for days, weeks, months on end afterwards. That's pretty fun.
And I remember people at work, when I was at work, they would say, so did you have your special Mother's Day party? And then I would have to tell them all about it.
It started because probably the 2 years prior, we'd do what everybody else did. We'd go to the Mother's Day buffets, all the restaurants, you come out to Mother's Day, and we're like, yeah, we go out there, and it's so stinking crowded. And children were young, and we were tired. We were doing set up and tear down at church. It was a long morning, and then we'd go out to Mother's Day to like, yay, celebrate mom, and we're all hangry and cranky, and it just wasn't enjoyable. And one year, just randomly, I don't remember how, but one year as it was coming, Mother's Day was approaching. I remember just asking the girls to say, hey, what do you think of doing like a little restaurant? Like you guys could be servers and cooks, and we'll create like a little restaurant that make it special. So it's different than, because we go out to eat all the time. There's nothing special about going out to eat. But on Mother's Day, we'll have a restaurant, a bistro at home. And then it just went from there. We brainstormed and dreamed and came up with a name. And yeah, that was the beginning.
I remember it was my dad, Shanna, and me. We wanted to just do something nice for our moms. Going out to eat was crazy. It was more stressful than anything. So we decided we'll do a nice meal, cook at home, serve them instead, and we can't just do anything like, oh, that's cute, just a nice meal. So we made it a big theme, and I think it was very simple then, like colors, a color theme.
Shanelle's Bistro started when Dad took Danielle and I to Nobby's one time. That was the place to be back in the day, early days of Shanelle's. And he kind of was like, oh, we should do something fun for the moms. It should be more than like just going out to eat, because we go out to eat all the time. It's our fatal sin of our family. So we're like, we gotta make this something special, something different. What are we gonna do, girls? And we're like, I don't know. I was 6 at the time, Danielle was 13. So we were just kind of like, I don't know, help. You tell us. So he's like, okay, well, we started at Nobby's, and he's like, just walk around, let's see something that pops out at us. Maybe let's pick out some fun colors or whatever, and we'll decorate our own dining room, and it's gonna be so fun. Like, yeah, it's 100% gonna be so fun. I have the colors in mind. And so between the two of us, at least, his dad pretty much let us run with it. Like, he wasn't ever controlling what we did or what our thoughts were or whatever. He would just kind of modify it, or I don't know, make it more reasonable if we had outrageous expectations for something. But that wasn't the case in the beginning. So the beginning, he's like, pick out some fun colors. So Danielle and I came up with green and purple. I do remember that. And I specifically remember picking out the table topper, you know, the ones that like sit on and go like spray out. I got several of those in purple and green, and it was memorable to my 6-year-old brain. But I remember picking purple because I remembered Grandma Bernice's coat being purple or blue. And I was like, oh, she's gonna love this.
I think it was like purple and green. And there were just some, like maybe some flowers and things around, and just pretty simple. And your Grandma Bernice was there, and of course my mom and Jack. And so simple. And I don't remember the food. I don't remember what we had. But it was just pleasant and fun, and just kind of started off, you know, just a treat. Felt like we were treated and loved on, which was fun.
I remember going to Nobby's with the girls, and they didn't have the full concept. You know, they were young. I just threw out the idea, but we're going to do a restaurant, and I had kind of a vision, an idea. but you also have to do it at their level, you know. And so we went to Nobby's, and I just, okay, pick out a particular color. Let's look at the colors. What decide? We get napkins and plates and spoons and all the things to match. And in the very first one, it was just colors, you know. So it wasn't our normal plates, but it'd be like purple or whatever. I don't remember the color for sure, but it was bright and happy and cheery, and just the whole watching it come alive to them as we were walking around the store. And then of course it kind of became a monster because as the years went on, it was like we would spend a lot of money at Nobby's, and I thought, you know what, it's for the moms, we're just going to do it. We'll just bite it, you know, and do it. And the cart would fill up with all the little decorations and the sparklies and the things. And but that's my earliest memory is young children walking through the store, and their eyes starting to, you know, just catching the idea and the vision. That was cool.
Yeah, my earliest memory of Shanelle's is probably picking out specifically the little fanned table decoration in blue or in purple and green, and then also the like door curtains that were like shiny. I thought that was wild. We're really having a party now.
Some of my earliest memories, I feel like they're kind of vague, but they all go together. But every single year we have some kind of tassel-y doorway and like peeking our head through the tassel doorway. I remember the Western theme, and we had those inflatable like cactus, and we wore our hats, and I think that was the picture. That might have been the beginning of the big, we get a good group picture every year. Yeah.
There came a certain point when the girls were starting to get a little bit older and colors weren't enough. Balloons weren't enough. Sparklies weren't enough. They had to go a step further. They had to make it one more step special. And they began to develop themes and storylines that we could center our meals around. We turned a corner one year. First of all, the reactions of the moms came in, and you could tell it was bigger than, oh, look what the kids did, you know, oh, we're doing a little thing. It was like, wow, you did this for me. Like the moms, they can smell a labor of love, right? They knew right away. They just like, this was special. But it took 2 or 3 years for us as the planners to really acknowledge, I think, that. And probably at some point, the first few years, we just changed colors. You know, hey, red, green, we're doing yellow this year, you know, whatever. And at some point, we started adding in, I think we did a jungle theme, a rainforest or something. And we got little, just simple decorations, but they were kind of, I don't know, do I say classy? But they were beyond like, you know, childish jungle things. It was like, you know, a leopard or something. I don't remember exactly. And from there, the reaction to the moms, and then the reaction of the kids and the Shanelle's Bistro staff became, it just clicked. This is bigger. And then we started planning it earlier, because before it was like you could a month ahead say, hey, what color are we doing, you know? And at some point, just 2 or 3 years in, we started like planning themes and menus and elaborate sets, and it just grew and grew and grew from there.
The more work and behind the scenes mystery of not telling you what the theme is, not going to tell you yet, you know, all these different things. When that started happening, I think that's when I realized, okay, this is a little bit more than we're just having the moms over for a nice dinner and we're going to put some flowers on the table. Probably about 3 years into it, because that's when the decorations and everything else kind of got crazy. And then, of course, as we started adding Alan and we started adding Thad, it just kind of got, you know, big.
I didn't get to see any of the like interactions in the actual like living area. I was in the kitchen, and you come out and like my mom's having a great time, your mom's having a great time, your grandmother's having a great time, like everybody's having a fun time. So that's when I kind of realized, oh, this is more than just like a yay fun little dinner.
Probably the first time I was involved in the group chat. The planning committee likes to start 364 days before. So being involved in the chat and realizing how much work gets put into it, that's when I kind of realized, all right, this is a little more than what I signed up for, but it's fun in the end. So
I think when we did our first like legitimate theme, I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was, but like Hawaiian theme, or that might have been one of our earliest ones. It was like an actual theme that we could be like, ooh, we could wear leis. And wouldn't it be hilarious if we got coconut bras? Like, that's so funny because I'm like 8 or whatever. And so I was like, okay, that's when my participation felt like it started to get more creative and into it and be like, ooh, how could we design this to be so fun and like an experience rather than just a meal? Because I wasn't cooking the chicken breasts at 7 years old. So my committee was design. And I think it stuck.
The theme started pretty simple at first, but once we started going and the children started getting a little bit older, the themes became more and more elaborate. There came a time where every meeting, every discussion, every conversation was all about how do we do better than last year? How do we up what we did before? How do we impress the moms more than we ever have before? And through the years, it just kept getting better.
The Disney year was a big year, and that brought a bunch of family in together and tied in the big Disney trip.
When we turned the corner and we did the I don't know if we called it an African theme or a jungle theme or rainforest. I don't know what words we used, but that's when the lights turned on, like for everybody. We're like, okay, now we can do bigger, and now we can do better. Next year we're going to take it to the next level, and it just kept going.
Downton Abbey, I love that Mom and Grandma loved that so much, so I loved it. And it was almost the simplicity of it made it really cool. Also, the Chinese meal that took actual 8 hours to cook will always go down in history as a good one. The food was good.
Hearing Pat and Shanna and Danielle talk about the Downton Abbey one and how cool that was. And then I got involved after that one, I think. It's right after that.
The biggies are Disney was a really big year, of course. Downton Abbey, but I know my mom's going to say that one. And to be honest, one of them, we had Chinese food one year, which was really fun, and that sticks out because it took a long time. Food took forever. And Alan's parents were there at that dinner, and they were moving, and they were just sitting there like the whole time going, we have a house to sell, we need to be like cleaning the house, but yet they came and they stayed and enjoyed, and that was fun. Great Showman sticks out as a really big one. And then really what's so funny is the Mother's Day of COVID was really unique and fun when the doorbell would ring and the next person was there with the next entree or whatever we want to call it. And then we played games in the backyard, and that was fun just to realize that. I didn't realize that was going to happen. I thought it was just going to be over and just me and my mom, and Mom and I on either end of the table, which was kind of funny, and trying to light a candle was a battery operated candle. That was pretty funny.
The most would probably be The Little Mermaid. And I know that's kind of more recent, but I wanted to make it outstanding for Danielle because she'd put so many years in. It was a monumental year that she would switch from being staff at Shanelle's to being a guest at Shanelle's. And so she knows what it's like to do everything behind the scenes. She knows how much effort and time and investment goes into it. So I didn't want to disappoint her because it's just knowing the behind the scenes makes you appreciate things more, but then it's also like, what are you going to do this year? Like, expectations are probably higher knowing what we talk about behind the scenes. So I was like, we got to blast it out of the water. Even though Alan wasn't going to be there. So we're like, okay, how are we going to figure out a way to get him involved? And like, the decoration has to be perfect. Like, everything just needs to be on point, and it ended up super fun.
I was in Guantanamo Bay, and so it was during Mother's Day, obviously, and I was trying to figure out what I could do. And I think I came up with the idea of buying red spray paint and a mop, like a fresh mop head, and I spray painted it all red. And I went down to the beach and I found a nice rock. And I was trying to like, you know, in The Little Mermaid where she like breaches the water and she's part of your world. I thought I was gonna do that and it was gonna be really cool, but it wasn't all that cool.
I wanna be where the people are. I wanna see them dancing. I wanna be part of your world.
And then somebody saw me and they're like, what the heck you doing, son? But apparently it was fun and it worked, so I'll take it.
It's done then!
Disney stuck out a lot. For me now, honestly, Little Mermaid was pretty cool.
If you go food wise, I would say the Chinese one was my favorite one. But last year, seeing Brody involved doing the space outfit and watching him, that was probably the fun one. Because he actually helped quite a bit, so that was fun.
I can't even remember because they were all special. They were all good. And the decorations, I think one was movie stars.
Yeah.
I think that was one. And to walk in and to see how elaborately you and the girls would decorate, that Cheryl would see it, obviously. She lives there. But when she said that they would get it all together, then she couldn't see it. So she was just as surprised as I. And then to have your mom there sometimes and to have, I don't know, different parts of the family that would come in. Sometimes Gary would come with his family.
Top 3 themes. Downton Abbey has to be right in there. I mean, that was wow. That even blew me away, and I was part of the planning. But you know, I didn't do a lot of the work. I mean, I was part of it, but that was pretty cool. We had a farm country theme, and I think what made that special was that Danielle had come back from college. You know, so it was just different. And of course, she had a little college freshman, you know, thing going on and was being silly and goofy. But Jack was there and it was just some cool, we went outside, took family photos, we just went around and did stuff. And so that sticks out. And you can't not say that the Chinese food one, because it was some of the best food in some of the most disastrous setting that we ever did.
The Little Mermaid, of course, is one of my top choices. I'd say Downton Abbey was a monumental year because the moms just like were crazy about it. And that was the year we kind of took it from cartoony themes of a cutout of a Hawaiian hula dancer to like real plates, real silverware, a real like candelabra with lit flames, and like we made it classier and more like elevated in our design. And I think that was the year that the moms were like, whoa. And so being behind the scenes, we're like, okay, how do we up it next year? Because that year I started sewing like our own costumes because, you know, surprise, surprise, I don't sell a lot of maids perfect to Downton Abbey, like historical maids wear. So I was sewing the aprons and like getting a lot more involved in it. And then probably my third favorite would be the Greatest Showman. That was fun. It was very colorful.
I liked COVID a lot. The COVID one was fun. I think the Little Mermaid one, even though like I wasn't like super involved, it seemed like it was a lot of fun. And then I guess the astronaut one as well. That one was a little more stressful because we had a little Brody running around for a little bit there and we were trying to catch each other on fire, but that was, yeah.
Disney. Little Mermaid. Ooh, that's also Disney. There's a theme there. I really like the outer space. It's probably selfish because Brody was the cutest little astronaut I've ever seen. I've really liked every single one. I think the Chinese year was sad because it took so long to make the food, but it was really a cool theme and the food was top notch.
Under promise of anonymity, we asked each of the Shanelle staff and patrons to tell us their least favorite theme and or menu item. You'll be surprised at what some of them had to say. Of course, we took strict measures to make sure that their identities were hidden.
Least favorite? I don't know if I've ever not enjoyed something. I don't know if I have a least favorite. I can't think of it.
A Chinese one. I had a lot of burns on my hand from dropping stuff into hot oil.
We're just talking about theme, not like experience.
Well, I associate the two together.
Okay.
Also, there was a picture of some hats that weren't seen as appropriate any longer.
I guess maybe if anything, maybe the underwater one would be my least favorite. But I don't really have any specific reason why. It's just not really my style or my thing, I guess. It's like, if I'm into cars and I'm gonna go to a 5-hour crocheting convention, like, okay, I'll do it, kind of thing. That's the only reason why. Is it's not bad. It's just it's hard to get into something that you're not super into or something.
I think we did pot roast once. Now I love pot roast. I mean, and I sure the food was good, but it's like, I think it must have been during a busy season. We're like, throw it in a crock pot and go. So there wasn't, the labor of love wasn't in the menu that time. But it was delicious. It was good, but they were all good. I can't think of any bad food that I can recall ever in 20 years. So I mean, the Bistro's got it's got a 5-star rating, right, from everybody. But that would probably be, if there's a negative somewhere, and that's a lame negative. It was still delicious. It was just low labor involved.
I don't know, probably a roll, a crusty roll. I always like the food. I like all the food. I don't know. Were there any fails? I don't remember any fails of food. It's been solid food the whole time. Yeah. Goldfish. Crappy.
Probably like, it was like egg rolls I was making. Like we were deep frying them and they were microwaved first and they were like, they're kind of soggy, and they were soggy and wet. And it's like, we'll just put them in the oil. And it caused the oil to pop all over my hand. So we'd stuff them in there and they go and like all over my hand. Because we didn't think, hey, we should deep fry them, like just in general. Don't put them in the microwave, get them all like soggy and then stick them in hot oil.
I mean, the easy answer is the very beginning color themes, but they were appropriate for the time. So I can't say that. The least, maybe the 70s. Was it 70s? Where like we had all kinds of stuff taped to the wall and everything was falling off the walls. It was just hard to was 80s? Like we had like a disco board, or I can't remember what it was. It was like a Tetris. Tetris, yeah, that was it. That I liked the theme, because that's my decade. But that was challenging. I can't think of a theme I didn't like. I mean, at the same time, when I say the country farm one was one of my top 3, it was also like, I mean, it was like a blow-up cactus. I mean, it was kind of cheesy, and that was probably the beginning of the transition from cheesy to more elaborate. So I'll call that.
That was so challenging because there was not kitchen stuff. Like the cooking was so difficult that year because we had to run back to the house at least 10 times. At least 10 times. I don't know. It had to have been more than that, honestly. We were just constantly taking trips back and forth, hoping that the moms didn't see our car driving. I think we were in a closed room, so they didn't know, but that was chaos in the kitchen. Chinese year. I untagged myself on Facebook because that's embarrassing. I don't want to get canceled. So that's all I have to say on the matter. My lawyer is involved.
Maybe the movie year. I don't know. That's the first one I think of. I like them all. So they're all unique and different in their own way. So, and I've enjoyed every single one of them. Maybe just because it was just kind of, it didn't really have a theme. It was just kind of movies, But I really do enjoy everyone. So I wouldn't say any of them are bad. The movie ended up being kind of a dirty movie.
We didn't know we were gone.
Yeah. So Mom and I were like, ooh, ew, oh. It was like Mom's Day Out or something like that. And so these moms were just partying and swearing and like they left their families behind, like, oh, it was just like,
We did on screen.
so Mom and I are just sitting down there like in our flicks, eating like, oh.
During the teen years, you start, every person begins to kind of push away a little bit. You know, there's the coming of age and I don't need you. So as the dad, I needed to kind of maneuver that time. And there were probably times I had to remember, hey, this has been doing this for a long time. We got to keep it going. Because I'm sure there were times the girls were like, you know, this is dumb. You know, I mean, none of my friends, you know, no, who else does this? No one does this in the world. Like this is a totally unique thing to the Hudson family. Or maybe they would be so incredibly busy with their schedules. I mean, crazy busy, sports and music and academics and all this stuff, that to try to pull them in and get some focus. My perspective changed maybe to becoming more of a coach, I guess. You know, like, okay, come on, team, we're gonna get this together, and let them, rather than me having the ideas, they began having the ideas. That's when it started really getting elaborate, because, you know, Dad was just like, hey, let's, what color do you want to do? And the girls turned it into what room, what scene are we in? What world are we going to enter? So that when you enter into Shanelle's Bistro, the moms, like even from the conversations from the driveway up the stairs into the house, into the room, whichever room we were in, it became just encompassing the whole entire area. And so like I say, I had to kind of step back, and there were times I would have different ideas that I just didn't share, or I thought, boy, that's really dumb, or I didn't share because I wanted them to dream and develop and mature in that process. So I'd say I instead of the instigator, I became the coach, and that's probably a good perspective change during the teen years of the girls.
I think that the Downton Abbey year hit during my teen years, but you're kind of selfish when you're a teenager and you're just kind of like doing your own thing. And I was very, very busy in high school, like very much minimal time to do anything. Probably, I mean, I was busier in high school than I was in college. So it was a selfish life that I lived. And so it was like fun to do this for other people, but I was like, how can I have like a creative release? Like it was still kind of selfish in how I approached it. But it became more enjoyable as I got older because I could appreciate more of what the moms do. And so I could actually kind of try to return the favor.
I don't know, we did a lot of kooky stuff together when we were teens. Like, I was just kind of like, this is something we did. Like, we're just like, we're bored, what are we gonna do? Well, let's go do this. Like, okay. And it was just kind of just to hang out with each other, not like, no, I don't want to say there's not a deeper meaning to it, because I was trying to woo you, but like at the same time, we're like, let's just go do something, I'm bored. Whereas like, now it's, I don't know, in a few years, you might be a mom kind of thing. So I'm like, well, crap, now I gotta kind of step up now so I don't get hit with all these things when you do have a kid.
So when the girls both moved out, went to college, their world changed. They moved to a different world, whole different time of their life. And there were many times I wondered, well, I wonder if this is it. You know, I wonder if this is over. And one of us would throw something out, we're going to do this. And it was always like, absolutely, there's no way we're not going to do this. And I tried not to be overly pushing, because I wanted to keep it going, but also I had to be respectful for like their entire future is at stake, and like they got other stuff to do. So I would maybe throw out a hint here or there, hey, we're going to do this. We started using Facebook Messenger as a major communication, so you could be a message with the three of us, or four or five as things grew, what are we going to do? And you can keep that message throughout the year. So every once in a while, throw something out like, hey, what are we going to do? You know, and that gave them room to say, I just can't this year, or input. And it always kept going, just kept going. There were even times when Danielle was in Kentucky and her last day of school for the year, she might be singing at graduation on like the day before Mother's Day or something, and she'd zoom back for 12 hours, you know, and get here. So they never missed it. They never missed a one. I tried to give them space to back out, and they didn't want to. Part of that as well is everybody took their like, it's kind of like the geese when they fly. You got the leader, you know, and then they get tired, they go to the back, and someone else takes the place. We kind of did that with Shanelle's Bistro. Is people took their turns in being the strong idea person or the driving factor of it. There were times I was. There was times that Shanna was. When Danielle went off to school, Shanna stepped up, and that's when, you know, and she put her creativity into it and took things to a different level itself. And then Shanna went on to graduate work, and then Danielle came back, and she steps up, and then now we got husbands involved. They stepped up. So like everyone's done their part. Even when Alan was overseas, you know, he videoed things and sent it to us, you know, so he was part of it. And he obviously couldn't help in the production, you know, and the creation of it, but he could help in the planning, and he helped with, you know, things, being a mermaid, dressing up like a mermaid and singing, you know, was a pretty fun memory. So everybody took their time, you know, so to keep it going, and hopefully that will continue, you know, in the future too.
What drove me to continue? I am a severe traditionalist, and I don't know if that's the right term, but if there's a tradition in place, I will do anything to maintain that tradition. So I had to. There was no other option. But it was also just kind of nice to have like a set aside time to hang out with family, because I do feel like a little bit secluded in Iowa City, because you have to, you know, we have to drive back.
What drove me to continue doing Shanelle's Bistro during school was because I've always tried to maintain God family, a God and church family, and then school and work. I try. School flips that around a decent amount, but time with family is priceless. Time in school, so what? Who knows in 50 years if I'll even be here? Will it even matter? But family to me is the most important, one of the most important things. So I've always made time with family a priority. So that's why I did it, I guess, or why time with family, it's priceless.
I think it was the first Mother's Day after the passing of your mom. I don't get to see her that much and talk to her that much, but that day, she was in the conversations, and she would tell about her family and how growing up and with the kids and with the boys, it just is a void. It was sad to not have them there anymore, but that was part of life, and I think that is the hardest thing, is that when a loved one, a family member, passes away, but the memory lives on. I still remember your mom being there on many occasions, and she was like a little kid at times, to where she would just clap her hands and so happy about different things and how it was decorated, and she would bring up a couple of things of, I remember back when, and that's how we learn, and it was special.
The first time we had a mom die was my mom, and I remember in the planning that year, we just said we're just going to honor Bernice, you know, and so she liked bright colors. We kind of went back to the beginning, you know. We did all these colors, and I can't remember if we called it a Hawaiian theme or if that was a different mix in 2 years, but there was colors, and we tried to be happiness and joy, and from a son's perspective, it was kind of rough, but at the same time, it was like since it was a labor of love, it became an honoring thing. You know, like we're doing this for Mom. You know, she loved it. She loved Shanelle's Bistro. bragged to everybody about it. She'd show them her menus, she would talk about it, show pictures. Totally loved Shanelle's Bistro. So that first year, as I recall, didn't we have a candle lit by her where she would sit? So we honored her that way. And I don't want to say it was like she was there, because obviously she wasn't, but it was like the memory was there, the honor was there. And then it wasn't long later when Jack passed away, and so now we've lost two. And it was, honestly, there was a few years there was a pretty pitiful little crew. I mean, we weren't a large family, and so it was just a handful of us. And that was, again, we honored him, we remembered him. I still look back at the pictures, and a lot of those are Mother's Day pictures, that include him. So they're still part of the family. They still live on in our memories, and they're still part of Shanelle's Bistro. But it did shift things, obviously, from I love you to I loved you.
So throughout the years, we had more people participating when it began. We had Dad's mom, Grandma Bernice, and then Grandpa Jack as well at the table. And so as we lost these family members, it was kind of intentional the year following to try to honor them in some type of way. In a lot of different things too. It wasn't just Shanelle's. It was Christmas. We had an ornament we picked out specially that was very colorful and fun, and there's a lot of different, I don't know, it was just finding little ways to kind of keep them around and keep them in the tradition. Well, it lowered the amount of people there. So it made it a little bit more, there for a while, just me and my mom. We're the only mothers, which was kind of sad, because in the beginning, we at least had Dad's mom, Bernice, and then we had Jack joining us, just because I don't really know why he never did enter on the work area, but he was there at the table. He added, to our conversation and stuff. So there for a couple of years, it was just kind of just the two of us, which was odd, a little bit different, but again, still really fun and good. But and now it's growing again, so that's fun.
I would guess that Thad's first thought was, what are you even saying to me? I guess that he didn't really know what he was getting into with Shanelle's. He's like, sure, I'll agree to it if it makes you happy. So I think that he was like, sure, I'll do it. And then once we started to really get into the process, he didn't understand what this was really going to be. So then you get your first year done, and I think he was nervous, probably embarrassed a little bit. Once Thad's family got to come, and then he got to see how much they loved it too, then he really bought in. And especially now, me becoming a mom, I think it helps. Like, it's something that he's actually treasures a little bit. Yeah. I think he might still be embarrassed, not be super excited about costumes, but I think he likes it.
Wow, we could just go somewhere and eat food, and this would be easier. But as far as that, it's just unique to see how much creativity gets thrown into it, and then just seeing how much they enjoy it and talk about it after that. So it's cool, it's unique. It's a different way to do it. It's fun.
Yeah, it's just like a way to kind of like hang out with you, kind of thing. You're like, oh, but your mom's gonna come, so you can come and like serve your mom. Like, okay, 2 for 1 kind of thing. Help my mom out, hang out with my lady. But like I said, now it's more of like how are we gonna get it done, like the planning process behind it. Because we're like this day after Mother's Day. It's like usually like, I don't know, it seems like the day after Mother's Day and like a week before, it's like we gotta get this done. Like adrenaline's up, we're like planning or making sure everything's falling into place. And then like, it's just kind of funny, like the day after Mother's Day, we have a whole year and you're like, what are we gonna do? Next year's themes, what can we buy now? Like, what crafts can we do? Like, what is the menu?
be prepared because you're going to lose some help real fast. And you have to learn to just, me kind of being not an outward person like some of the others, to just go with the flow and make it what it is. And it's not for us, it's for Mom.
I would say to myself, for the first year at Shanelle's Bistro, you have no idea what this is going to turn into. You will love it. It is worth every tired night. I drove back overnight one time from Kentucky to be here for Shanelle's, and it was worth it. It means so much to the moms. I don't know what I would tell myself. Just keep doing it. It's worth it. Be consistent. Keep showing up because it's so important to our family. I think I would just encourage myself. Show up. Keep showing up. Even when you're tired and you don't feel creative or you don't feel like doing it, do it anyway because it's worth it.
If I could have a talk with first year me, I think I would say this is bigger than you know. I mean, you're doing it as a little diversion, as something different. I like to do things different. Hey, let's change things up. That this is, I would tell myself, you're about to do something that's going to become a traditional, maybe multi-generational thing that is going to be a centerpiece of our family going forward. No idea that was happening. I don't know that I would do things differently. I think we were age appropriate in the planning. You know, I didn't overcomplicate it. And as the kids grew, their dreams became more elaborate and they became more involved and it blew the thing up. But I think I would probably say this was good. This is a good idea. Do it. Don't. If I was doubting it at all, I'd say make sure you do this.
Maybe I shouldn't have used up some of the more traditional themes first, because it's really made us had to get push some boundaries and get real creative in these later years. We could have saved Hawaiian for 15 years down the road. But no, I think what I'd actually say is just like, I don't know that I would say anything because it's fun that you would discover that it becomes this huge tradition over the years. I feel like you never know what's going to become a tradition, and that's what makes it fun later, is looking back and being like, I had no idea.
I thought it was kind of like a less like I just show up and do things, not like now I have to help plan things and run ideas past things, and then all the process behind it. So I would tell them like, just be ready, get ready, because it's gonna be just crazier from here.
Well, one year I made a funny face in every single picture and I still feel bad. Every single picture, I don't think we had one good picture. So, no regrets, but that, if I could change something, I would have given Mom a nice picture. I think that may have been the year I drove back all night and was quite delirious. Yeah.
Maybe, honestly, I wish we took more pictures. I wish we took more video. Now that there are some who are not with us, that would have been cool to see that context. I wish I had a way to better remember the moms talking about it the weeks prior and the weeks after. There are memories that are inside that I'll never lose. But I don't know how I could have captured that.
Probably the Chinese year. I am so mad that my in-laws, has only gone to 1 year, and it was the most regrettable year out of all of them. We thought it was gonna be so cool. Like, it looked really pretty in there, I'm not gonna lie, it looked really pretty. But, holy cow, the food was so slow. It was delicious, but it took, I don't think we ate until like 3 or 4 p.m. for lunch. Like, oh my gosh, that was wild. And so, that's my least favorite year, probably.
My first year, or just the fact that I'm like, yeah, I'm a good cook, I can do whatever. And you're like, well, can you do this? I'm like, heck yeah, I can do that. And then I get there and I'm like, oh man, and over my head.
It became a labor of love because it did take brain space. So I always like to think about it. So you're thinking, brainstorming, communicating all the time. Then it gets down to the actual buying decorations, building decorations, and then just putting it together. Those weekends are always a marathon. You're just tired because we do it on Sunday afternoon usually. So we would go Saturday, try and set most of it up. Sunday, I would usually help or somewhat, I don't know. We'd have pictures here, we'd lead worship, do the family pictures here, leave and immediately go finish setting up, but you don't want to delay things. It was just a lot of hard work between thinking about it and brainstorming, putting it all together, and just the rush of putting it all together that day.
You know, you could see the whole Bistro become a labor of love as the children grew, and like Shannon, the very first year, my biggest concern is she going to spill water walking into the table? You know, it's just a little thing, and it at some point when it clicked for everybody, and we would go to Hy-Vee and have breakfast and have planning meetings but like months ahead of time, and we're brainstorming themes. We're looking for ideas, and then as once we picked a theme, we'd start brainstorming ideas, and then it became the shopping and the searching and the looking. We had like months to come up with things for a set. We'd come up with an idea, and then it was like, okay, we're going to go to a Goodwill store or some type of secondhand store and pick up just stuff that's cheap. We tried to be cheap, but it wasn't ever cheap. And then the whole menu thing, it wasn't just throw a menu out. It was like, well, let's make the menu match the theme, the wording and the terminology. And there was so much meticulous labor put into it. It was just a labor of love. I mean, it was not something slopped together ever, even in the very beginning. So yeah, that's a pretty good progression of it becoming like bigger than a thing, and becoming obviously a year-long honoring of moms.
I got into design in general, and so then transferring that over to Shanelle's was really cool because then I could start making the menus on my laptop. They'd still, it was still the trifold, same content, but I was like, how can we make the design even cooler? This is a sneak peek. We got to keep the sneak peek at the same level as the day of. So how can we do that? And then I got a Cricut, and that's when I was like, ooh, we can take this to the next level. And I specifically, it takes hours and hours and hours of my life to do the decor for my Cricut, but I was like, this could be great. It can be custom, it'll be awesome. And I remember cutting out all like the bottles for the silhouettes on the walls on our Greatest Showman year. There's silhouettes, so it looked like it was like in the scene, it was in the movie. It was really cool, but it took so long. It was all very detailed. I remember sitting in the basement like, is this even worth it? Like, are they gonna care? But they cared. Every time I think like, oh my gosh, is this even worth the hours? Then like, it's so worth it walking in and they were like blown away. It's a whole new world. Like you do get transferred to a different time period, a different location, a different era, different everything. It's really cool.
Definitely during the COVID year, that was more like a labor of love because I wouldn't say it was necessarily just like falling in line for the first year of like, okay, I have to do this kind of thing. But like during the COVID one where it was kind of like, there was no question of like, yeah, we're going to find a way to do it kind of thing. It was like, yeah, we're going to do this thing. Yeah. And we were kind of building off of each other. And then it was like playing to everybody's strengths to like make it easier for the most part. Like we had people that were set up for drivers, like delivery, had people set up for like cooking and all that stuff. So it wasn't like one person cooking and then grab the food real quick and go drive. Like it was all like, everybody was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. You can do this. Somebody has to do this. And somebody would be like, I'll do that. I'm like, okay.
Well, at 6, you don't really comprehend. Your mom is just your mom. Like she's doing her job. Like that's what you're supposed to do. So like, of course I'd love to celebrate that, but you don't really appreciate what all goes into it. And so it was just like a fun party for me. And then as I've gotten older and things have gotten more creative, it was honestly probably like the Downton Abbey year. Like that's really old. I know that's like kind of old and that's kind of bad to say, but That year I kind of saw like a glimmer in all the moms' eyes, and I was like, wow, this is like a real treat. It's not like a party. It's more of like it should be more relaxing for the moms, and it's more of a like, how can we show you that we appreciate you throughout the year by consolidating our time and effort on one day, whereas you know, continuously show us like love and support throughout the entire year. But it was probably that year, honestly, kind of switched gears for me.
I want to say that I know on behalf of my mom and all the other moms that got to enjoy it through the years, we all appreciate and love the amount of work you guys do and put it into it to treat us so special.
But it's always fun. Everybody enjoys it. And it's good to see the praise come back afterwards and how well thought out it was and how well done it was.
I looked forward to it every year, and it was just a nice family thing that we all enjoy being together. And there's a lot of things I would miss in conversation as far as how are you doing, how's work going, you know, this or that, because we all are living our lives. And if it was really serious, then y'all would tell me, or I would hear it from somebody else in the family. But it's just a good family get together. We laughed so much, and that is the part I love.
I just love how it's so unique. I also love how it's an example to so many other families too. It's very, very unique, and other people look forward to it, to seeing it every year, to seeing what Shanelle's will be, what the theme will be, how we went a little over the top. I just love my dad's passion behind this as well, and how he taught us how moms should be loved, just how to treat family. Family's priority. You do this every year just to make them feel special, and I don't know, it's a big deal. It's a big life lesson, and we maybe went over the top, but no regrets.
The type of meat we're going to have. Sometimes you guys had turkey, sometimes you had ham, sometimes you grilled, and it was kind of a neat thing, not knowing, but then you crossed your fingers that you liked the meat.
Probably the dessert. Yeah, also I really enjoy like how the wording is and how it's kind of getting to know your chefs on the back and how each year it's changed, because even adding Brody one year, which was really fun, and just as the family grows and changes, it's unique, you know, and how it's presented. So I just like the overall theme of it and how it all fits together.
Oh, it'd have to be the Chinese one. I wish I could make that fried rice plate again. I can't remember. Wish I could remember that one.
I got so many. My favorite food, I would say turkey. You guys had turkey one time, and it was so out of context since it wasn't Thanksgiving that it just was really good, because I never really thought that was what we were going to have. And then you would make up the Shanelle menus. And when I saw that, I was so excited. I thought it was a misprint, and it'd be turkey. And I go, yes. So I was happy about that.
Ever? Mm-hmm. Wow. The salad is always good. It's that bacon. Honestly, that fried rice too. The fried rice from the Chinese year was really, really good.
Honestly, the Chinese food was delicious. It was incredible. It was everything was made from scratch. The thing with Shanelle's is we always go the extra mile, right? We don't get bacon bits. We buy bacon and fry it and have real bacon for salads. Everything we do is extra. No corners cut for moms, right? The salads are like one of the favorite things the moms always have talked about, you know, because we have these fresh ingredients and they're good. And so we carried that on to the Chinese menu, and everything was made from scratch. The sauces, the batter, like everything. That's why it took so long. That's the tragedy of that day, is it took hours, literally hours. None of us had done this before. So, you know, we get to experiment and have some fun, but man, it took forever, but it was, man, that was good. That has to be my favorite food. It's always been great, but that stood out.
Gotta say, my favorite food was the gnocchi. Gnocchi. It was better. It was better than Olive Garden, and Olive Garden's famous. Olive Garden's famous for it. That'll do good. 5-star reviews for Chef Howard. Alan Howard. I'm Chef Howard too.
To prepare.
Gnocchi. The chicken gnocchi. Yeah, it was a lot of fun because I thought gnocchi was like crazy hard to make. Yeah, but the soup was made from scratch, just minus the gnocchi. Like we even like cooked up chicken.
It's funny because I can't really remember the food so much, other than the salad is always so good because there's like real bacon on it and all that stuff. I don't know, every one of them was fun and I enjoy it, but if I looked back to try to remember Downton Abbey year, what did we eat? I don't remember. It's more the ambiance and the fun and just kind of all the work you guys put into it and the appreciation and feeling loved on.
So starting out being a daughter to a mom and then switching to a mom, 2 different roles in Shanelle's Bistro. And I don't know, because I'm still learning. I've only had a couple years and like 6 months, maybe a full-time mom or more involved mom. I think it makes, being on the other side of it now, it makes all of the work and everything and the brain power and like, why are we doing this? It makes it more real, or makes it more, I don't know, it brings it all together. Because now, I mean, you put in the work and you want to serve your moms because you love them so much. You see what they do for you. But now it's a whole new level. And you see, I only have a taste of what it's like to be a mom and to parent, and it's exhausting and really hard. But I love it. So to see just a little bit of work that we put into Shanelle's being on one side and then switching to the other, I also appreciate it so much. Which all of the moms always appreciate it, but it's kind of fun to be like, I know what they're doing right now, or I know like they're rushing to do this, or this is probably the conversation they had, or I know that dad's like back there excited, and I just know what everybody's doing back there.
I'm glad it started. I'm glad it's continuing. And I just think it's going to be wonderful memories for the girls. And since they're both married, and now we have little Brody, it's just a continuance of something that we had done before that, before either one of them were married. And I think it's something, and hopefully, that they kind of look back on, and when all of us adults, moms and dads, great-grandma, is all gone, that they can say, do you remember when?
No, I'm just excited to see Brody get more involved in it. Yeah. And then it's going to be scary when we don't have Shanna anymore. So that'll be, see what happens.
I just hope that the tradition can continue and last well into the future.
Brody's gotta get older fast, because like, I don't know if I can do this by myself. Thad and I like get tapped out pretty quick with this stuff, so we need like more ideas coming in. Gotta grow up quick.
That was good.
We stumbled into this, you know, it was, who knew we'd be doing a 20-year documentary. I mean, I never dreamt it would last this long. I have no idea how long it will last. You know, what will happen? What will happen when Shanna has children and the 2 original Shanelle's Bistro employees are no longer part of it, but now they're the mothers at the table? Well, you know, will the husbands keep it going? What happens? I mean, let's be honest. Life goes on. What happens when I'm out of the picture? You know. Will someone pick up that torch and say, we're gonna keep doing this. I don't know. I don't know if it matters. I don't know, but I think it's special and it's been good. And I know that Shanna and Danielle will have expectations because you've done this for 20 years. You will look forward to it. And even when it's your young children choosing bright colors, because we're going back to youth, it'll be special because they picked them out, and you will just fall in love with their creativity as it gets developed as the years go by, to see what they come up with. I hope that it will always be a magical moment when the moms open up the menu for the first time and see the theme, and then they start thinking, what is this going to look like? What's it going to be? And then another magical moment when they walk through the veil or the door or whatever it is that we have for an entry, and they walk into the room, the set that we have set, and they experience the bistro of that day. I hope that continues because it's been pretty special.